Greetings, comrades, and welcome to the Eastern Border. And, I'm back home now, and it's a bit difficult because my arm hurts like I don't even know what. I have to figure out how to record while not damaging it further. So it's like pretty bad. However, I can't type, so, this is... Oh boy, this is happening totally unscripted. However, I've typed on Twitter and everywhere that I need some help. Therefore, I will be hiring a person to help me out with scripting these episodes and my book. Because I'm writing a book. It's called Fear and Loathing on the Eastern Border. Because I respect Hunter S. Thompson. But, for a month or so, not a happy camper. And I know the happiness is mandatory, but, this is the second episode you hear me screaming out loud how much I actually probably need painkillers, but I have to give you some news about the war. So, let's go. In short, Putin, in his 9th of May speech, voiced a traditional set of messages for the Kremlin aimed at internal audience in order to justify the war in Ukraine and the high military losses of the Russian Federation. There was not a single new, or true for that matter, narrative, only constant accusations against the West, allegedly threatening Russia. Putin's speech was the rhetoric of a defeated dictator who has brought his country to the brink of disaster. The atmosphere of the parade was rather dull. Very informative facial expressions of key figures, Putin and Shoigu, which expressed confusion and actual defeat. There were no encouraging messages. It was nothing. It was just robotic. The whole parade was automatically worked out as a formal but necessary procedure. The absence of Gerasimov, by the way, is a very important aspect. That's the head of the FSB, indicating that at the moment, he's responsible for Russia's failure in Ukraine. It also could indicate Gerasimov's poor health after the voyage to Izum. The narrative of the defense of Donbass is an attempt to narrow Russia's front. And, like the goal before this, defense of Donbass always stay the same. You can't go wrong with defense of Donbass, even though you ruin their lives. Ukrainian territory is going to get captured anyways. And at the same time, the preparation of scapegoats, Pushidin and Pasechnik, they're basically being prepared for. We already are seeing how all these people who will be responsible for the failure, how they're getting on, really. The Russian military personnel participating in the parade basically were taking part in the war between Russia and Ukraine. And this looked a lot like a Nazi procession. The atmosphere is depressing. Shoigu's gloomy mood and Putin's indistinct speech, all this created the effect of a farce. A kind of a bizarro part where no one playing knows the role between the tragedy and the comedy. The announced desire of supporting the children of killed soldiers is just so ironic, really, if you think about it. It emphasizes Russia's desire for senseless killings of both its own and Ukrainian military personnel, and just everyone else. It's the people who pay for all this shit. Last day Russia was expelled from the International Gas Union amidst Biden's proposals signing of a land lease for Ukraine. That's the international response on the day of Russia's landmark holiday. That's kind of like a fuck you straight up to the face. The malfunction of the notorious Doomsday plane is the real reason for the cancellation of the air parade. They wanted to basically parade their plane, which would drop nukes. But that plane failed. So, that didn't work out. No attention was paid to the Kanyetymorskaya division, an elite tank unit, the commander of the 13th Regiment of which shot himself at the end of March in Ukraine. And the participation of this division in this whole war was marked by its complete defeat. Victory Day, 9th of May in Russia, was just weird. There's a lot of people in Ukraine also celebrated it with tears in their eyes, and those were not tears of joy but of grief. Because, you know what? A lot of people in Russia do the same thing as well. The current Russian army is an army of basically suicide bombers. Many of them will never return to their homeland. They can't do anything about it. I mean, like, it's 18-year-old kids, and they've been sent to die. Sadly, they will die. Why? Because they were sent there to exterminate freedom. And I admit, I was skeptical about democracy, but democracy has one extremely good thing when compared to other regimes. Democracy defends itself. And if you are a free person, you will defend your freedom. And it's just amazing. Because, just crazy. What really stunned me, though, was the fact that not a single Z symbol was seen in the parade. The embodiment of the absurdity and Nazi aspirations of Kremlin. Putin is kind of looking for a way back, I think. Maybe saving some face. He can't do that, and he knows that, but it's a kind of like a drowned person looking for himself. A lot of people who marched in today's parade in Moscow will not be able to meet the next day of victory because they'll be killed at the front for the sake of Putin's criminal intentions. The overall impression of the parade is the expressed desperation of the losers who are struggling to keep the situation at the desired level because it's increasingly difficult to hide the scale of the catastrophe unfolding in Russia. They're going down. Nothing was said about mobilization and further plans to continue the war. Putin has nothing to say to his people. And I mean, I'm critical of Stalin, but Putin has brought all of us far more down than we ever expected to. And now from the kind of crazy part to more real situation, although I will mention where there are lies here. Because this time, Mr. Girkin really kind of made a bad one for me. He did a poo-poo. He lied on his report to make it sound like Russians are winning more. Which is bad. Bad, Mr. Girkin. Do not do this. Like I said, I'm sorry, I'm high on painkillers, basically, and I'm just trying to give you the information that I can. I hope this goes on well. In case of whatever, I'm not charging patrons for this. I'm just giving you the news. Thank you for this. Quote, summary regarding the situation in the front line. Igor Girkin. Quote, in general, there is little I can add to information published by other bloggers whom I personally trust. For example, by respected Roman Donetsky. In fact, I received the majority of this information several days ago and had to wait until it appeared in the news without my involvement, where a part of it I cannot publish even now, for obvious reasons. Kharkiv front. Completed now is a withdrawal of poorly equipped reservists of LDNR and Rosgvardia units onto new positions, much further from Kharkiv than the previous. In places, the withdrawal occurred without direct pressure from the enemy. In others, as a result of their direct pressure on highly inadequately equipped and largely innumerous and completely untrained and inexperienced ally units. Basically, he here states that, holy shit, guys, you're under-equipped and you're poorly trained and everything's terrible. In liberated localities, for example, Stary Saltov, repressions began against local officials and activists who had the courage to collaborate with Russian military authorities and who had no time and opportunity to withdraw together with them. At the moment, positional hostilities continue near Kharkiv. South of Izium. In the past few days, the situation has not changed in principle. Our troops did not manage to break through the United Ukrainian Forces front, and that's good news for us, and reach at least the Barevinko-Sukhavinsk highway. Hostilities continue. Severodonetsk Popansa area. As a result of the conclusion of multi-week fights for Popansa, captured with combined efforts of assault units of Wagner Group, who are ridiculously Nazis. I mean, if you want to check out the Nazis of this war, check out the Wagner Group, the private warfare company Wagner. Those guys, yeah, Google up private warfare company Wagner. I'll leave this to you guys, because this is what matters, really. And People's Militia of the Luhansk People's Republic, without any, quote, except for media, real participation of Kadyrovites, a direct, because here he basically says the Kadyrovites, the Kadyrovцы, that they're basically TikTok soldiers, and do nothing for Russia, and they're up there in the front, apparently. Well, this is direct possibility, and this secured the surrounding of the Severodonetsk-Lysychansk link from the south. As it appears, the enemy command is ready for this and plans to leave a part of the present there group as another fortress, counting on holding up the assault forces for several weeks, between 1 and 3 or more. Though fierce street fights in the same way it happened in Volodyanka are planned, basically. In any case, there is no breaking through the Ukrainian front line. The enemy, and this is Girkin I'm quoting to you, possesses enough manpower and detachments to cover the shrunk front line after the encirclement takes place. An option of abandoning Severodonetsk and Lysychansk without a fortress scenario also exists, but to me it appears unlikely. Avdiivka area, without significant changes. There is unconfirmed data that, as a result of poorly conducted change of experienced units of Donetsk militia, the reserves units that have not yet been in combat, the enemy again has taken the whole part of Mariinka that was previously captured from them, which, if it's true, does not have any serious significance, perhaps just a tactical one. In Ukledar area, hostilities continue without any significant changes for any side. Similar situation is in the area of Khaliopole and Zaporozhye, and also near Kyrgyz and Mykolaiv. Regarding the Snake Island situation, and this is where he starts to lie, to me, based on the available information, it appears as follows. Okay, I will not translate Girkin's lies. Here he basically states that, oh no, this was reconnaissance aviation coordinated by NATO fire, and NATO bombed us, so we must attack the Baltics. Sorry for the sarcasm here. I should be a professional journalist, except that I'm recording this while I have a broken arm, and I'm in pain, and I have just went through so much to translate all this nonsense to you. But basically what he states is that NATO sunk this submarine. Ukrainians didn't. Ukrainians are weaklings. They couldn't have done it. That's 3 paragraphs of text for you, in short, basically. And I'm making the mocking voice because although I use Girkin as a source, please do not ever mistake this for respect towards the man. At any rate, I'm back at home, and although my arm's broken, I'll find someone who'll type the scripts for me, and I'll go on. Why? Because happiness is mandatory. До свидания, товарищи. And please, if you can, become patrons of our show. That really helps us. Like, honestly, helps us a lot. I, have 350 euros to pay for my hospital bill in Netherlands, because apparently that's more dangerous than the war zone. And, just keeps me alive, Seriously, I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. And, of course, you can just donate for a one-time donation in the easternborder.lv. And just click the donate button there, and of course, support Ukrainian charities. And please, if you donate to Ukraine, let us know. We'll mention you on the show. So that's going to be great too. My favorite charity, as always, is comebackalive.ua. Donate to those guys. And again, до свидания, товарищи. And happiness is mandatory. Oh, and I seriously apologize for the quality of this episode. My neck hurts and everything hurts, so I'll be better next time, and maybe the front line will shift, as I am really looking forward to the next Ukrainian counterattack.